right, today we're gonna address rumors of a Castlevania remake and a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Okay, so according to Andy Robinson, who spoke on the VGC podcast, Konami is supposedly going to debut a Castlevania remake and a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake at this year's E3. Please, what are your thoughts on these games?
Konami, it is about time you come back to the console space and start taking these types of games serious. I'm very happy to hear that you are making two classic franchises and bringing them back, especially on the biggest stage in gaming, E3 this year. I'm just gonna get the elephant out of the room right now. You know this isn't the remake we want. We want the original Metal Gear Solid remake. But I get it. You don't want to mess that up. You want to start off with a safe bet, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and see how the fans react to it, see if this is something they want, and then possibly you will move forward to what we really want to taste, what we really want to play, what we've been clamoring for what, 20 plus years now?
All right, regarding Metal Gear, to me, it doesn't make sense at all that they would start with a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I mean, it's such a random game to start with. Who you're trying to get? The fans of the original game, they might bite, but you're also trying to get a new audience for Metal Gear. You don't got Kojima anymore, so you have to start over. If it's gonna be with remakes, fine. But these new fans, these new audiences, they're automatically gonna jump into a part 3 and have no idea what's going on. It doesn't make sense. Why would you do that to these fans? Start with Metal Gear Solid 1. Go with that hard remake. You know it's gonna sell. You don't have to test it. It's gonna be a smash. People are gonna buy it. And new fans, they're gonna get to start with the first game as this should.
Well, let me give you a different perspective. Now that you actually brought it up and you were saying that it makes no sense, I agreed with you initially. I just finished saying that Metal Gear 1 is the right choice because it's the one the fans want and it's the one that's going to sell the most. But just bear with me a second. What about the timeline of the games? Metal Gear Solid 3 is set in the past, so technically it would make the most sense from a timeline perspective for them to start off with part 3 and then move forward to part 1 and then part 2 and etc. etc.
Now, if you start with that with the new fans, is think of Star Wars. Would you tell people to watch Star Wars starting from Phantom Menace to see Darth Vader as a little kid? No, you tell them to watch the original movies first, and when they realize who Darth Vader is, then they see him as a little kid is going to be a whole different thing. It ruins the story if you tell them to watch episode 1. It just completely ruins it. So I think it would be the same way here. It would ruin a certain main character of Metal Gear Solid 3 if you start with that game instead of seeing him in his original light.
Now, one of the points I want to bring up is the gameplay mechanics and the differences between Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 1. We all know that Kojima tried to do something different regarding Metal Gear Solid 3. We had all of the different camos because you're in these different wildlife environments. After 2 successful games in the franchise, they needed something different. They needed to give you a different feel. How well are these mechanics going to translate in 2023? I hope they get rid of a lot of the tediousness to those. I don't want to be switching my suits every 2 seconds just because I'm in a different section of the game and I need to gimmick my way through this area.
All right, let's call it what it was. It was pure gimmicks. And at the time, it was cool. Like you said, it really did add like RPG elements to this shooter game. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's a lot of animals that, for completionists, you're going to have to find a lot of animals to eat. You're going to find a lot of suits. And it's true, there was gimmicks with them suits. Like you'd be in a bush, hold on, press pause, change to my green suit. And then you walk 2 feet away to a red brick wall. Hold on, press pause. Let me switch to my red suit. It was pure gimmicks. And yeah, it did get a little silly. So they're going to probably switch up things for the gameplay mechanics. I don't think they'll do just a straight translation. Yeah, I don't think it would really work that well in 2023 or 2024 if this is really gonna come out.
Obviously, we know they're Kojima fans, even though this isn't necessarily tied to Kojima, but the story was created by Kojima. I'm sure they're going to be as close to the game as possible. I don't think it's going to be a reimagining. I think it's going to be a direct remake of the game, akin to the Resident Evils, just making it new and updated for this current generation. Will it sell? Will the Metal Gear Solid name be enough to make this game a smash hit? Obviously, it's going to be a hit with fans who remember and still want to play Metal Gear in 2023. But what about, like you said earlier, what about those new fans? Will new fans find something to enjoy in this game?
If it's a straight remake, Metal Gear Solid 3, I think that's gonna hurt it because, like I said, people are gonna be like, why am I gonna just jump in from a part 3 of a game? But if it's a reboot, reimagining of the franchise, starting the story over, and depending on how good it looks and how good the gameplay is, then I think it'll really sell.
I can see them calling it Metal Gear Snake Eater or Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater or just something completely different, kind of to differentiate this game from the original. But I think if they market it right, it will get fans off the strength of the name of the IP.
All right, now regarding a Castlevania remake, I'm not so hype about this because, as you know, I like 2D Metroidvania style Castlevania games. And I don't think that would be this case if they remake Castlevania. I think they'll probably do something 3D, which I'm not a fan of.
I know some of the reports suggest that they're open to work with other developers and making some of these IPs. I don't know that Konami is able to make a good Castlevania game in 2023. Lords of the Shadow was their last Castlevania franchise, and I did not like that franchise as well as some other people did. I know it got mixed reviews. The original was great, and then the subsequent sequels were just okay in my opinion. Let us know in the comments if you feel differently. But I don't know. What are we really going to expect from this game?
We recently talked about Eric Williams from God of War saying he wanted to remake Castlevania and hoped Konami will let him. If it's this, again, I'm not hype about it. This is not this wouldn't be a game for me. It'd be a 3D Castlevania game in the style of God of War. To me, that's just not Castlevania. I don't care. Give me a 2D HD great art looking Metroidvania style game like Symphony of the Night and then I'm sold. But I don't think Konami wants to do that.
Are we expecting a brand new storyline? Are we expecting more Belmonts, a whole different family, maybe a whole complete reboot of the Dracula story or the Belmont story? Like, I don't really know what to expect. I genuinely am confused for this franchise, and is why I want Eric Williams to be the one to make it in the vein of God of War, because that'll be a certified smash. But aside from that, I'm coming into this E3 very skeptical. I don't know what to expect, and maybe that's a good thing for Castlevania because I don't want to expect negative. I don't want to go in being like this game is going to be trash. I'd rather go in with the lowest of low expectations and then have them pleasantly surprise me.
If it's a 2D Castlevania remake, then I'm sold. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, we really haven't seen a sequel to that. I think it would be great if they did it. Again, I don't think Konami wants to do that because Konami's been all over the place the last few years. It seems like they don't want to make money. It seems like they don't care about their franchises. We'll have to wait to E3 to see.
We had a previous video talking about Eric Williams, the director of God of War Ragnarok, and him stating his case for wanting to make the next Castlevania game. For those who want to see that video, click this link right here and it'll take you to that.
If you liked our content, mash that like button, and if you're new to the channel and want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.